Okay, so here we are. Official welcome to our webinar, Effortless Creation, with Dominic Scafidi and Grace Kelly. So very, very warm welcome. Lovely to see so many of you here. This 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 topic, effortless creation, is clearly a popular one. I was sharing with Grace and Dominic before we started. I think we've had over, well, didn't check recently, but 260 something people signed up for this webinar. So I was like, oh, I could only fit 100 in this room. But going on a past experience, lots of people want a recording. Lots of people who like sign up and forget they've even signed up. Those sorts of things. But yeah, this topic, and of course, these lovely people, Dominic and Grace, are so inspiring. And something I really love about both of them. I know Dominic a bit better because he's been to Spain, and I hosted a 2-day retreat for him last year in Spain. And I've got to know Grace online in Living Miraculously. I'm on my 3rd round of Living Miraculously. But I see that they both walk their talk. They both absolutely know that life is effortless and it unfolds in a way that we don't need to get involved in controlling. And I love to watch and have it behind the scenes, working with them in creating this retreat in May. Confirmed 100%. They walk, they talk. They're excited. I mean, Dominic sends these messages in the WhatsApp group about, isn't just amazing? Look at this effortless creation that's happening now. And I imagine this little puppy with his tail wagging, he's so excited about how life is working and how it's unfolding. So I'm absolutely delighted to be hosting this online webinar. We've got 60 minutes together. And Grace and Dominic are going to have a conversation about effortless creation. And then I'm going to share a little bit at the end about, how this retreat came about and why it would be a wonderful thing to come along to here in Spain where I live. So I'm going to hand over to Dominic and Grace. Take it away.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be connected with you like this, and what a lovely opening. Thanks for noticing how we live. We don't always see it, but we love to hear it. Dominic.
Oh, that's so true, isn't it, Grace? It's like, and many of you know, Grace and I are colleagues for many years. We met in Michael Neal's coach training years ago. It's got to be 8. I don't know, maybe more. But anyway, when we first met, and then we've been, we just remain connected, and it's been wonderful being able to stay in touch with you. And then that led, of course, as you and I kept having conversations, to these collaborations. And what I appreciated is how in sync we are with the way we create everything. And you and I have created many programs and many offerings, and they take on a life of their own. And they truly are effortless. And there's not a lot of people I could work with who would stay in that flow. And that's what I appreciate about working with you, Grace, is that staying in that flow and not eventually getting to a place of, okay, well, now we need to do something. Now we've got to grab hold of this and make it happen, right? And it's kind of like the worst thing you could do. Yeah.
And that's a beautiful example of that effortless creation. I love that you're using the word flow, Dominic, because I think that that's the feeling we can all recognize when something is effortless. We start to notice that there's this gentleness, that there's this flow, this ease, to what we're doing. And that, that's usually a really good indicator that we are not, as you said, Dominic, holding taking control of the situation, trying to steer an idea in a particular direction. So yeah, flow, I think, is a good place for us to be conversing. I think we all would love more flow. And of course, there are areas of life where maybe we don't necessarily experience that flow. And that's why we wanted to bring the subject forward for people today, that, that creation, that creating anything in your world can come with a feeling of flow instead of struggle. Um, can come with that gentleness and that easiness.
Yeah.
There was a participant the other day, Dominic, from our program, and he wrote to me to say that he'd fallen in love, he'd met someone, and within 3 months they're together, they're living together. She's also in our program, and he was in a state of flow, and a song just came through him. He wrote it in minutes. And he said it was like no other experience he had really known in writing songs, because this just came from a feeling of easiness and inspiration and flow. And that was just so it was so reassuring to me once again, that is a way that is available to us in our creation, whether it's songwriting or coaching programs or finding a romance, that this feeling of flow can actually be how we create in the world. I don't know what do you see about that?
Well, it's essential because flow points to energy. That like a flow of energy, a flow of spirit is what we could say. So it's essential because in the end, that's what we are. That's who we are. That's what it is spirit, is energy. That's what all this is. It's a dance of that. The sense of flow comes from that alignment or harmony. That this this is what we're really trying to do. In a way, I mean, you could just say that you're really not creating if it's not effortless. I know that's a bold statement, but you're just not. You're not creating unless it's effortless, because what you're doing, unless it's effortless, is a struggle or an effort to try to move things around that are already created. You're trying to achieve this thing or move a pile of money from over there over into your bank account. And there's no creation in it. Creation, which is like literally, if you think about creator and creation, it is an energy. And so effortless creation, we could say, well, that's even redundant. Shouldn't even have the two words together because there's no other kind of creation. It's not creation unless it's an effortless creation. Then it's something else.
I love that. Yeah. I love the possibility of just being so in that alignment and so in that connection with that energy behind life, or however we want to describe it, the energy behind life, spirit, divine mind, God, that we can be so in connection with that our creation is just fun and joyful and easy. And interestingly enough, in that example with our participant from Living Miraculously, he was sharing with me that it was the first time, I think he said it was the first time that he actually just called on spirit to help write the song. And this is something that I'm so passionate about, Dominic. It's like when I think of effortless, maybe because I'm a bit lazy in everyday life, I just love to call on this divine energy to support anything I'm creating, anything I'm up to. And as part of our program, of course, we have explored with participants this idea of spiritual support and calling on spiritual support for anything we're doing or creating. And so our participant writing this song had called on Elvis, the energy of Elvis Presley, to help him just get out of the way and come through with an incredible song. Now, let's see where this song goes because I have a good feeling about it. But I just love that um, connection to source energy, that ability to call upon this divine energy to support and guide and help. And again, whether it's songwriting or coaching programs or learning to drive a car, or in my case last night, please guide me to the best bottle of wine in this Enoteca because the choice was overwhelming. We get to call on this beautiful energy and therefore have an effortless experience of life, have an effortless experience of creating. And it just seems to me now that, why bother? Why bother taking the steering wheel of life and trying to effort our way through with things when we are so divinely connected to something, a consciousness so much that's just pure love, that just wants to give that love to us and through us.
Well, I resonate. In fact, you might say it would be silly to do otherwise. It's just silly because it's almost like right from the beginning when it comes to creation, the beginning of it is desire. Like that's the start. It's like there's like the desire for something. It arises. And that's important. It arises. And in living miraculously, we distinguish what true desire is. I'm not talking this desire like I see this thing over there and I just like want this thing. This is like there's feeling. Again, we go to feeling, to flow, to this energy. The truth of us is this energy, this spirit, and it is in eternal expression, wanting aliveness and thriving through us. This is what it wants. So when we say creation, creation is really this. Here I am minding my own business when all of a sudden, like I get this feeling or inspiration of something, right? Oh, I would love to share this. Oh, I would love to travel. I would love to do this other. So desire, like some sense, some feeling comes, and that's an energy. There's an energy, and it arises, and it's that feeling of desire, and that from that I imagine. It's, Sydney Banks talked about that, this world of form, like this is the world we live in. And he said, but there's a formless energy of mind, of an intelligence, which is expressing as this. And he said, and the missing link is thought. Thought is the missing link, right? So here I am, and I feel like that energy. And then it arises as desire and then a thought, oh, I would love to travel, or oh, I would love to have a business that is this way or that way. What most of us do, and what is not effortless creation, is what most of us do is that the minute the thought comes, oh, yeah, it would be amazing. I'd have a business that's like this. And then we at that point say, okay, I'll take it from here. Thank you very much. I can take it from here. And now I'm going to make it happen. It is silly that it arises from an infinite intelligence. And then I think that me and my little mind with my physical action is now going to grab this thing and I will create this. And that's why creation becomes struggle and effort. Because at that point, I disconnect. At that point, I will achieve this thing. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to achieve it. And if it is to be, it is up to me. And I will use discipline, willpower, and hard work, and I will outwork everybody, and I'm going to achieve this thing. And that's nothing but struggle, and that's nothing but resistance, and nothing great will ever come of it. So,
Yeah, so true. And I'm reminded, as you're sharing that, I'm just reminded of how well designed we are, that we actually get the feelings of stress and strain to alert us when we have taken control of the steering wheel again. Like, I think that was one of the most helpful things I ever realized that really, really changed my experience of doing business is that the feeling I was getting of tension and stress and even procrastination, not wanting to get into the creation, like realizing that those feelings were letting me know that I was back in taking control of the reins. That's like one of the most helpful things that I've learned. Just noticing the struggle can help us just let go and let God, infinite
mhm,
intelligence, work through us to move in the direction of that creation. And what you said is so helpful, Dominic, that it is like that in many areas where we get an idea, it's divinely inspired, and then our little mind takes over. But what if the feeling of strain and tension and stress and struggle, what if those are all friends letting us know that it's time to let go again. It's time to allow this infinite intelligence to work its magic through us. That's
yes,
what excites me about
yeah,
effortless
yeah.
creation.
It's also why that's so exciting is because you cannot imagine what will be created. You cannot imagine it. It's like, because I'll tell you, if I take that idea and I'm going to plan it out, plot it out, every step, what I'm going to do, um, I know what I'm going for. I know what I'm going to put together, what I want to achieve. So I will achieve to accomplish that. Well, this is why when instead I've caught the glimpse of this creation and it's exciting, it's in the feeling. As I understand, that very thought is like a seed containing all of the intelligence for its entire fulfillment. So, this feeling that I have is the glimpse of an energy which has an intelligence that contains every detail of the way it comes together for its full expression. In a way, it's like the seed you would have of an oak tree. It's tiny, but everything is in there, all of the intelligence that turns it into that. When I realize that, I it's like I think what happens is you're more respectful of what that is, a little bit gentle with it, honoring what that is, being willing to take my guidance from it. I trust this energy to know better than me what needs to happen when. And I trust that that energy, which is indivisible from the energy that lives and breathes me, I trust that energy will inspire and alert me in precisely the moment of where to look and a feeling of what to do in that moment. To write a song, it's like your client is to write a song to this person. It's like, which is very different than how do I get that person and how do I create that relationship? It's no, it's effortless. Just allow it to happen. Stop trying to achieve it. Relax and allow it to happen through you. That's what's distinct.
Yeah. And it's been my experience too that you know, as you'll hear me talk about this a bit, but as our mind settles, as our mind is a bit more rested inside, it seems to me that that guidance is just so clear, is so available. And so when I hear sometimes people up against, well, I have too many ideas, I don't know where to start, or I start things but I don't finish them. Like I'm just often reminded of the beauty that is available in a quieter state of mind, in a state of mind that is just even just half an inch calmer. And there is something about that the feeling of effortlessness, the feeling of flow awakens, the feeling of divine inspiration is ignited. And that just to me is inspiring and is hopeful that we're
Mm,
not, that we don't have to figure it all out, you know? We can
that-
actually pause, find some inner fuel with a rested mind, and then gain a lot of momentum with what we're creating.
mhm, mhm. So important. And maybe what I'll say too is at some point now, we Grace and I will kind of flip over to if people want to raise their hand, ask questions, comments like that. We will shift over as we start just kind of complete our own conversation. But and so at any time, feel free to do that if you want to get engaged or if there's something that you heard that you want to ask about. But this is huge, that whole figuring it out thing. Um, I know we both get this a lot, like with clients when we're working with them. We hear it, obviously, in our programs. We hear it. It's just the natural common thing um, is uh, I need to figure it out. Right? Like I have this desire, so but I've got to figure it out. I don't know how to do it. And all of these how to questions, right? That is how, but how do I do that? Or, my business isn't where it is. How do I get more clients? Or I want to travel, but I don't have the money for it. So how would I do it? Right. So that we get that kind of a question. Um, and see that direction, you can start to feel the stress. You feel the stress and the tension the minute that direction. How will this happen? And there's good reason for it. This is part of the guide. It's like, because I'm using a little mind to to try to figure out steps in what is a beautiful creation that this mind is incapable of figuring out. It's too little. It's finite. And when you think about the seed of the thought, the desire, the creation that comes, it's what makes you think that you could conceive of an idea, of a desire that you can think of. That source, energy, spirit, the place where it came from, doesn't know entirely how to do that. You could never conceive of anything that source could not create. It would be impossible. Could never enter your mind. So the fact that, well, I want to travel, but it's not possible, or I want to be in a relationship, but all the good ones are taken and I'll never find one, is all nonsense. That's like the little mind that would say that or would think that. But from the truth, that's just not true. And so we get with the effort is the trying to figure it out, coming up with the how do I do this? And the ideas are just horrible, ridiculous, because they're all based on what you've heard, what other people are doing. They are not you. And so now you're trying to do these things that other people say you're supposed to do. And meanwhile, that idea came perfect for you. That idea and that creation never requires you to do anything that does not bring you fully alive and and offer an opportunity for you to be who you really are. And that feeling is bliss, and the feeling in it is thriving. That's the only thing that idea requires of you. And so when you go, yeah, but I have to do this thing I don't want to do, because, in the end, there's no pain without gain anyway. And you can't expect to enjoy everything you're doing. So sometimes you just have to suffer. And I'm willing to suffer more than other people are. And that's why I'm going to be successful and I'm going to achieve this thing. There's the ego again, stepping in, thinking that they're going to. You will never achieve anything great. You can only allow miracles. You cannot achieve them. You cannot achieve your dreams. You can only allow them. And so it's about tempering and allowing that spirit, that intelligence to move you. And when you say, oh, I don't know how, or I have to figure it out, well, you're not supposed to. You're not capable of knowing how, but you are capable of understanding and being inspired for what there is to do now and now and now and now and now. And all of it will feel effortless as you allow it.
So, what do you say if we open up a little bit here, Dominic, and just say, does anyone have a question or um, a share or a comment? How, can we make this more relevant to your situation? Um, Feel free to either write in the chat box or to come on and and speak with us. We do love to see you. If you do decide to come on, we really appreciate it. And don't forget, like your comment or your question helps everyone. What's most personal is usually most universal. So nothing is off limits here. But yeah,
There's a question or not a question, a great comment I really resonate is I feel pressurized by the word creation. It feels too demanding. What a great comment. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. It's great. See, pressure, it's demanding. The feeling itself is the indicator of I've gone off. I've gone off. When I plant a seed in the ground, where's the pressure? That seed becomes an oak tree. Where's the pressure? It's too demanding. Where's the demand? Creation is not depending on you. Creation is not relying on you. Creation is only asking for your allowing. There is no pressure from creation. Creation You have complete free will. You will never be pressured, and nothing will ever be demanded of you because it cannot be. So the only thing that creation does is you can allow it or not. That's all there is. You're never under pressure. So, you know, I'm not um, a woman, so I don't have a baby. But when you have a baby, you're not creating it. You're not the one creating it. And a lot of it's interesting because I am a parent though, and there is the raising of children. And before I had this understanding, I had pressure. Like, how am I supposed to raise them? What if I mess this up? There was pressure. There was a heaviness to it. And after this understanding, I realized that, but this is a creation. This is a creation I cooperate with. This is a creation I align with, that I am willing, if I'm willing, I am willing to participate in this creation. Because in truth, we could say that every creation is co-creation. Every creation is a co-creation. And it is a co-creation between who you think you are, this little person. It is a co-creation between who you think you are and who you really are. That infinite intelligence of who you really are, that soul that lives and breathes you and brings you alive each day. So that is the co-creation. So what that's about is, are you willing to allow this to be created through you? That's what it is. There is no pressure in that. And you can never be forced to. And there will never be a demand of that. That's just, you can relax and let that move you.
Mia is okay. We have Mia on the chat and we have Gail with the hand up. Where shall we go? Ooh, exciting.
Start with Gail so we can get another voice in the room. And that will.
Thank you, Gail.
Thanks.
I'm so intrigued because I've been doing some mentoring with Sheila because I won a raffle prize at Viva, which was great. Little miracle. And one of the things when we were discussing, she was talking about what would be my best year yet. And I said, various things, but she spotted that where my greatest, or she felt the most energy, was when I said I wanted to walk freely because I have a movement issue at the moment. But at the same time, I'm also looking to move house because I'm finding this house not quite suiting me. And I'm really struggling to find somewhere. And there's this part of me that goes, but I've got to look, haven't I? You know, so there I am on Rightmove and Zoopla and all those sites, and the agents are sending stuff through, and I'm looking at things, and I'm used to living in old properties, and I go and look at modern things, and then it goes, oh, this isn't really me. So on. And yet I could see that somewhere there's an interlink in that if I was moving freely, I possibly wouldn't be looking to move because my house I'd be able to manage my house. I've got a very steep staircase with narrow tread. I have to come down sideways. The street parking, I'm often parking way up the road, sometimes difficult to walk down. So I'm looking for somewhere with parking on one level, maybe, or whatever. But I can see this interlinking somewhere. I'm thinking, well, is this why I'm not finding a house that suits me? Because actually there's a different priority here somewhere. I don't know what your thoughts on that might be. Or is it just too much thinking going
Grace, did you want to start or you
Well, we can probably both answer this. Go ahead. I feel you. I feel you're excited to answer there.
Oh, I love what you said, Gail, because in general, what's always true is there's generally too much thinking and not enough feeling, right? In general, too much thinking, not enough feeling, right? I want to move, right? Or I feel some sense of moving, wanting to move. So too much thinking, not enough feelings will create doubts and second guessing. If you were just feeling, it is so simple. I heard it as you were talking. It is so simple. I want an easier place. I want easier movement. I want easier mobility. And here's the thing. You can say that and not add anything more after that. That's just the truth of what you desire. You can speak the truth. You can express the truth of what you feel and not add anything more. You can simply express the truth. And that's the degree, extent of the creation so far. The creation that you are willing to allow. I love the idea of living in a place that I can manage entirely. I love the idea of having a place where mobility is not an issue. I love the idea of being, like that. You can express that and there's no contradiction. And when you do, you have allowed creation that far. You've allowed to give voice, action, speaking that far. And when you do, the momentum will begin. That energy has a lot more to it than just that. And an energy begins. And when you allow that and you can stay in the feeling of how beautiful that is. Isn't that beautiful? Don't you love the ease of that? Don't you love the freedom of that? Don't you love being in that? I can tell by you're feeling it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of it, I know you spoke, I was re-listening to the recording because I couldn't make last Monday. You're talking about there's no need for trust. There's no need for faith. It's just knowing. That's a bit of a stretch for me, but hey ho, we'll get there. And it's, I suppose the question is, can I leave it alone? Having got that feeling and that inspiration or that desire, can I just leave it alone to evolve on its own? Is that what I'm hearing from you, Dominic?
Such a great question. So first of all, we'll deal with the knowing bit just a little bit, right? Can you think of, do you believe that there is a place that's ideal for you? A place of living? And either it is where you are or it is elsewhere. But can you believe that there is an ideal place and it's a perfect fit for you? It's either where you are or somewhere else, but there is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you know that and you're a little mind like I am, so then can you believe that an infinite, all-knowing intelligence knows that place?
Yes. Yes, it would do. And there must be out of the hundreds of millions of homes in the world. That must be there.
So it is known, and it is known precisely for you. And the knowing of it has come from your direct life experience of where this has been good, but that has not been. And this is too long a walk, and that's too hard. So out of all of that clarification, there is created actually what is for you. And you can't quite see it because that's the way it works. How can you see it? We're not that right. But you can't quite see it, but there is a feeling to it. And the feeling of it is really wonderful. So the question is, but if you can do that and your little mind, you're finite, right? Would an infinite intelligence, like this is like the most advanced AI tool ever, which is incorporating all of this knowing and information, wouldn't it just like that know precisely, absolutely what's for you? And you can't even imagine. So when it knows that, you said, well, can I leave it alone? You could leave it alone. It just won't leave you alone. So once a desire is born, once that desire is born, must express itself. It is living and breathing through you, wanting expression. So can you leave it alone? You absolutely can leave it alone. It will never leave you alone because every desire is eternal. It is a creation. This is a pure, true desire. It is a creation. It is created and it will be eternal. It will continue to be part of what lives and breathes you. And so, can you leave it alone? Absolutely. You don't need to worry about it because it will nudge you. It will nudge you to go into the coffee shop tomorrow. You won't know why, but you just because you don't normally do that, but you will go into the coffee shop. And when you go into the coffee shop, someone will be behind you in line and they'll be chattering around how they really need to sell their house because of blah, 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 or they need to rent it out or something like that. And you will not believe how easy and effortless you will move from where you are to where is better and what is in line. And you will call it a miracle. It was a miracle. You'll call it a miracle. And most of us will miss the fact that we allowed it.
Yeah,
I'm not
I think
confident.
when I was talking about leaving alone, I was meaning about not adding too much thought and doing so much on my own behalf, as it were. And what I hear you saying is just carry on with my life and be nudged towards the coffee shop or the theatre or whatever it is and see what arises out of that. And there's a bit of me that doubts that possibility, but I have to give it a go because it's certainly more playful, I think, than the serious attitude I have of searching online and going to view
Yeah.
places that aren't right and so on. So I hear that that's what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. That it won't leave me alone. Yeah. I
Yeah.
hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Okay. Let's go out and play then.
That is the perfect answer.
If I can let myself do that, I'm not very good at doing that, but it would be an opportunity to learn, wouldn't it? So, yeah. Mm.
And Gail, you know what comes to mind as you're sharing is that there's a certain level of readiness, that we can be impatient with where we are or what our situation is. And we can be wanting things to be figured out or different or to already know by now. There's a certain level of readiness that we come to when it's just right. And we get the guidance and we act on it, or we receive the information. In the meantime, play. Take heart, you're getting ready to be ready. But see, I think sometimes we underestimate the readiness because we're in the future about what we need by a certain time, or we're what I'm saying is our mind is already too far ahead, but we're still here. And there's a readiness that we can rely on. Okay. There's a readiness that becomes so apparent. And in the meantime, play with this. Be in your life. Hold your desire lightly, not seriously. And know that you are so well loved that this will be taken care of. Your mobility will either get better and stronger and there'll be no move needed, or you will be finding yourself just effortlessly in the experience of a new place that's more graceful to your situation. Thank you for an amazing question. It helped everyone. I'm so aware of the time here, Dominic, that I do want Sheila to be able to speak too. And I know we have hands up and we've got questions over here. Do you have a preference, Sheila?
I don't. You choose.
Let's go to the one that was in the comments, and then maybe we'll have Sheila take a moment as well to
Sure.
comment. In the comments was something about focus, and this person, we hear this one a lot. Like, so they talked about, Mia said, what about focus? Many suggestions come up, collaborations, ideas, different things. And I tend to take on so many varied projects that they stretch me, and then I'm tired. I'm going in different directions, and I feel like an inability to do it all. Boy, I can relate to this one. I totally relate to this one. In our last Living Miraculously, I had a massive insight about this. I forget who the part, because one of the participants, I had a big insight about this, which was my misunderstanding around my excitement was actually based or coming from, this is why feeling is so important, is literally coming more from, it had a tinge without mine actually being completely aware of it, a tinge of a kind of a scarcity shortage in it. So some ideas would come and I'd go, see, oh, this is so exciting. I should do this. Oh, there's another one. I'll do that. Oh, this potential client's coming. Of course, I'm going to say yes. And I was telling myself that look at me. This is great. Do you see how I do this? Like manifestations all over the place. And then as this question says, an overwhelm, a sense of now pressure. And it was interesting in that question in Living Miraculously, I saw, I'm not saying no, and I'm not even discerning, because underneath it all, there's something about shortage or scarcity. I have to say yes. I've got to do this. I've got to do the other one and the other one. Like, what if these run out? What if they stop? Got to do them all. And it was painted in my mind like this is a good thing. Like, look at the abundance of all of this. So do you see the subtleties that start to happen around? There's a resistance that starts to build and I don't notice it. And pretty soon that's just going to get bigger and bigger. And that pressure and that thing is going to be completely in my way. And it's going to distract the focus and disperse it. And the creation will not happen the way that I.
And what I love about Mia's question as well is, this might seem very simple, Mia, but you're noticing that you are taking on a lot of projects and you're stretched. In Dominic's example, initially he wasn't noticing that. So he was just in the experience of the overwhelm. See, you're already noticing, Mia, that you take on things that might stretch you. And you even said there's a tiredness and an inability to do it all. Well, see, it's not so much an inability to do it all, unless it's just our small selves in the driving seat, remember. But we can be guided as to what we take on. The fact that you are so aware of being stretched tells me that now you are present. You are more present to the feeling. And so, what if in future possibilities, collaborations, ideas, what if you were to allow yourself to take time before agreeing, or to notice, especially the feeling that's coming up in you when you're about to say yes to something? See, we really do have the ability to do so many things. But if we notice our mind is full and busy because of many of those things, we do want to stop. We do want to evaluate. I love that. I can't remember where I heard it, but there's this picture of, humans are the only species to speed up when they get lost. If you look at animals in the wild, the moment they get lost, they stand still, they stop, and they sense and regain their bearings before proceeding. Well, we can all do that. We can all begin to notice that the overwhelm, often a sign of an overactive mind, not just a busy schedule. The overwhelm, the tiredness, the pressure, the inability to keep going, beautiful invitations to stop and get centered and hear that guidance, regain our bearings. And that's what we would hope our retreat would also point you to, an opportunity to really come home to that guidance. I will let Sheila speak to that, but I just want to appreciate this beautiful question from Mia, and thank you for those that have shown up here and asked. Sheila, we'd love to answer these all, but I think I think we'll move it to you now, sweetheart.
Thank you. Well, thank you both for another wonderful sharing of how effortless it is to be in creation. I've certainly heard some new things today. And, as I said earlier on, I had Dominic here for a 2-day retreat in Albania at the end of last year, November, the beginning of November last year. And one of the things that he shared that impacted me, that really resonated with me was, you've talked about seeds again today, and I'm not sure if that was a word. When a seed of an idea comes to you or an inspired idea comes to you, it always comes along and use the word bullshit. And I think that's why it resonated with me, because it was like, really it always comes with the bullshit. So I had this idea, I'm going to keep the story short, but I had this idea not long after Dominic had left. I noticed the seed of an idea came in about, I wonder if I could invite Dominic and Grace out here for a retreat. And immediately the BS came in. Immediately I had thoughts about why would Grace want to come here? She lives in Italy. Dominic's told me that Grace wants to organize a retreat for him. He's going to go to Italy with Grace. And on it went. It was like, I could, and then it suddenly caught it. It was like, suddenly I was like, there's the BS. I'm talking myself completely out of this. And honestly, that's that as, you gave me the word, Dominic, sensible thinking. That's my sensible, rational mind telling me why this is not a good idea. Why would you waste anybody's time, and etc. But because I caught it, I was driving home. As soon as I got home, I came here to the laptop and I immediately sent an email to both Dominic and Grace and said, I've just had that. I explained a little bit, and I said, I've just had this idea and I'd love to. Honestly, it wasn't long. It wasn't long before they both came back on, not many, I don't think it was an hour or two. Both came back and said, that sounds like an amazing idea, and let's talk. So, this is how it works. So, this is how this retreat is effortless. Honestly, it has been effortless. From my perspective, it's like, just follow the breadcrumbs, And to have Dominic and Grace come out here in May, second to the 4th of May, they'll be here, is I don't know if it's a dream come true, but it feels like a part of that true desire of something that I want to be on this retreat. But what I'm creating it because I want to be a participant. I want to sit in a room with Grace and Dominic for 3 days and be soaked in this that we've just, we've experienced an hour of it now. And I want to sit for 3 days and just soak it all in and see what I'd hear. I mean, it was so fabulous for me last time. It has really, literally changed my life. That little insight, if you want to call it that hearing of what Dominic said that dropped into me has changed the course of my life, because now I am catching more of the BS. Now I'm like, sensible thinking is an alarm for me. It's like it's an alarm bell. And what I love about what's going to happen on retreat is they are saying, bring your laundry list as well, if you like. Bring what you want to this retreat, and let's see if we can explore that in a way that points to effortless creation. And the way we're setting up the retreat is we'll be in the room in the morning, and then where I live is a beautiful place. We're on the Mediterranean here. The beach is a 5-minute walk from the hotel. You have a long lunch break and come back maybe 5, 6 o'clock in the evening for a couple of hours to regroup a little bit more. It really will feel like a retreat, because we'll be very spacious. And I've been organizing programs and retreats here since 2012. And my experience is that as much as what happens in the room, there's probably more that happens out of the room as well, when people are having coffee together, when we're having lunch together, when we're having a walk together, etc., etc. There's something very special about being on retreat as a group together. The energy is magical. It really is. So I'm just going to link I will send out the link with the email with the recording tomorrow. They will. And yeah, if you had any questions, just let me know. But we'd love to have you. We've already got a really beautiful group done together. We have space for more. And we'd love to see some more of you come join us in May in Albania. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sheila. It is a pleasure. The effortlessness of creating this retreat has been a pleasure. Working with you and just the sort of the blending, the harmony of it and the way it works. And, we have our chat there with all of us, Grace and you and all of that. And it's just such an example of that kind of flow and watching it come together. So.
And people are looking forward to it. Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah, with some of you are already registered. I can
Yeah.
see. Yes, which is really cool. Yeah, we're excited to be with you there and to spend that time together. So, yeah, wonderful. Well, very good.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, we look forward to being with you in the room. Sheila, thank you for all your support here. And
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah,
lots of love.
Ready. Bye.
great. Good to
That's
see
weekend.
everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Beautiful.